Hello, so welcomes back everyone, AnthWolf here, with more Pillars of Eternity stepping into Dyrford village. A word, traveller. I only require a moment. House Harund Guard. The man sighs with relief as he looks upon you. What are the odds, stuck in this backwater only to meet the famed champion of Defiance Bay? Barasriel brings mercy today indeed. Perhaps you could help. I don't suppose you saw a young elven noblewoman on the road. I'm stuck in this wretched place with the rest of my unit until we find her. Who is she? Lady Alias. She's the daughter of Lord Nestor Harond, and she's gone missing. Perhaps you could go speak to Lord Harond at the inn. He'd be grateful for the assistance, and it could be the villagers will open up to you more than they have to us. Huh. Blood Legacy. Lady Alias Harond has disappeared in the quiet town. Lord Harond is sick with worry for her and fears that the townsfolk are intentionally keeping something from him. The cat and mouse is actually a task, not a quest. Interesting. I don't know what the difference between quests and tasks are. For me, they're all basically the same. Good day. Can't remember the last time we had a healthy birth in the village. Oh, it's going to be like Gilded Vale, isn't it? Let's pop into the mill first of all. We might as well pop ahead into all the buildings. The mill slowly grinds away at a trough of grain. Everything you'd kind of expect in a mill. Have you been to Defiance Bay? I heard there's no Hollowborn there. No, there's Hollowborn in Defiance Bay as well, unfortunately. The Lord staying at Dracogen has just about worn out his welcome. Well, I suppose the next place we can visit is actually the inn itself. Some vegetables there. Oh, I just missed a conversation there. The Dracogen Inn. Missing for days. You people can't keep stonewalling us. Yeah, the tempers between the villagers and these Harundian guards are going to be kicking off, no doubt. Let's see if we can get the Lord to settle down or tell us what the situation is. Because we're the curious sort who always stick our head into trouble. Oh, we have someone called Sid over here. Dad will have bigger problems if his gods keep pushing us around.
I just want to find her. Surely even you can understand that.
We're decent folk, my lord. Perhaps you should leave and check the wilds.
Interesting. Well, let's speak to this Sid character first, see if they have anything to say. You have a name, therefore you must have an interesting backstory somehow.
Well met, friend.
A redhead stands by the fire, tuning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of a melody as she goes. First time at the Dracogen. Normally I would have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of this inn. Say, you interested in a story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you about it all the same. Ah, you're like a minstrel. A chanter, perhaps. Sure. Oh, excellent. These rustic fables are always great fun. Let me get out something to write with. Dyrford was built in the time of Hadrit's rebellion. An Adrian lady, Fanu, once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to have been buried under the village. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the Empire, and had a contingent of Duke Hadrit's Knights of the Crucible help the farmers and colonists in the area turn and keep the rubble. This inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from the Lady Fanu's castle, they say. Supposedly the quarterstaff of a chief wizard even got lost in the construction, mortared into a wall or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn was supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built their new town. What do you mean by supposed to be? Dyrwodians are an honorary lot, and the more these new neighbours met, the more they argued. They realised that they didn't agree on much besides ousting the old lord. The biggest divide was over the Glenforthans and their nearby ruins. Hadrit's knights and their supporters wanted to keep the peace, but a group of misfits with more anarchic, that's again anarchy, isn't it? Anarchic, there you go. Anarchic leanings had formed a town wanting to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after their lord. Soon the villagers were fighting with each other as much as they were with the Adrians. Damn, that was a hard word to say. In the end, memories of the broken stone wall and the war black trees were fresh enough that the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came round eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines of the War of Defiance, and others, I've heard, found their way into the Gilded Compass, the most forward-looking of the Glenforthan tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes a good story. There's a portrait of what a cheap rabble-rousers in his rival in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of a joke. I don't think they're particularly amused. Pointing to the east wall. Thank you. The east wall, you say? This one, maybe? Maybe it's the one hiding here that they've covered up. Anyhow, let's speak to the innkeeper, who was getting harassed by the lord here.
Welcome.
Don't see many travellers these days. Something I can do for you? If you don't mind me asking, what was your exchange with the nobleman about? Folk around here's decent. They mind their own business. You want to stick your nose in it, go talk to him yourself. Thanks. Can you tell me anything about Dyrford? Ask. Have you seen an Orlan named Nifra? Tritchy lady, that one. What can you tell me about the village? Walking from one bridge to the next, you've seen it. We're quiet, hard-working folk. We keep to ourselves and don't take to being pushed around. Used to be a castle here, built by some family of Adrian Thanes back when the Empire first came. Only one tower still standing, and that's part of Figril's shop now. Sid, the bard by the fire, could spin you the yarn if you're so inclined. Who lives here in Dyrford? Not many anymore. Hard to keep people around when everyone here's birthing Hollowborn. But we've got a few who stick around and do business. Figril's the leather courier. Hendina crafts potions, and Winfrith trades in general goods. Roombald's a pig farmer. Or was, anyway. Can you tell me about these people? What about Trigil first? He's a courier, treats leather and makes armour and a few other goods with it. Problem is, the smell of tallow and tearsha tends to put people off their food, and his shop's right next door. What about Hendina? Lady's a clever hand with potions and poultices. Got herself into trouble with a nest of worms or so, I hear. Her cart's on the east end of town. Winfrith? Been around even longer than I. Nice enough fellow, but never could get his way to the end of a sentence. His shop's across the square. And you mentioned Rumbold's pigs. Something happened to them? Damn ogre carried them off. Now he squeals more than his herd ever did. 'Tis all rotten luck. About Dyrford, I have more questions. You said you don't see many travellers. Course not. Why would they come here? We got bandits on the road and an ogre in the forest. As that yapping fool Rumbold'll tell you. Worst yet, hasn't been a healthy child born here in over a year. Most kith that come through here are just passing through. About that ogre. You don't hardly see him this close to town. Ogres and kith don't mix well. Ugly bastards. But they're smart enough to know that much. You want to know more? Talk to Rumbold. His farm's southwest of here. I'll order some food and drinks. What do you have? Camping supplies, dragon meat, dragon eggs. I highly doubt they're made. Dragon egg dish. The grandest of omelettes. Those that feast on dragon eggs often find there's very little they would not dare to do. I mean, that's really dragon egg? Oh well. I may have judged you wrong. 1 might plus 2 constitution. Ooh, hello. Dragon's Lair. 2 might, 2 constitution, 2 intellect. Wow. Sure, we'll rest in the Dragon's Lair for tonight. This inn might be really good just to top up our stats. They'll come in handy if we have to pass any tests. 200 copper pieces isn't that bad. So I'll have a pop into the kitchen. Some ale. And we have someone here called Pace. Or Passe, maybe. What are you doing in the kitchen? Didn't I get you sorted out with food and drink? Okay. The portrait depicts a man and woman dressed in Adria garb that would have been in style a century ago. The heavy frame has been battered and the plate that once bore the patron's name has been scratched out. They share a passionate embrace which seems at odds with the disgust on their faces. I see. And we have this, Nanaoki Feral. Let us look at the voices of your past. You see this woman running through the streets of a small city. She pushes her way through the crowd, glancing over her shoulder as she does. Her clothing is torn and her hair dishevelled. Even though she appears to be attempting to escape from someone, her eyes sparkle with joy. Her mouth is pulled back in an enormous grin, and occasionally a small giggle works the way out of her throat. While looking over her shoulder, she runs headlong into a well-dressed man standing at one of the market stalls. The moment she sees the man she's run into, her face changes. Gone is the glee, replaced by fear. Her grin twists into a frown and her bottom lip is quivering. The man, seeing her appearance, expresses concern for her well-being, and she leans against him, waving a tail of a brutish man with wandering hands. As she speaks, her own hands travel over his body, seeking and exploring. There is a shout from across the crowd, and they both look to see a large, angry man approaching, roughly pushing his way through the crowd that separates them. She stiffens against him, feigning fear. The man tells her not to be afraid and steps in front of her to block the path of the figure who is coming nearer. The woman smiles, backing slowly away from both of them, and lets out a gleeful cackle. The protector turns confused and sees her departing, laughing and shaking a coin purse. She spins and races off through the crowded marketplace. Confused, the man feels at his belt. His face hardens and he yells, joining the chase after the laughing woman, losing herself in the crowd. Well, let's not let you get too near us, shall we? Before we speak to Lord Harontia, let's check the upstairs. See if there's anything else or anyone else we can speak to. Been here depicts a forested ravine. What were you two talking about? And your hoods were very interesting. Actually, with that in mind, I'm not sure if these are members of the Leaden Key, but those masks. Tell you what, let's put this. This may be a stupid idea, but in case you are the Leaden Key agents, let's pop our head in. Orlin hovers by the window, peering out of it every few seconds. As you enter the room, she watches you carefully, her hand hovering over her stiletto. Anyone follow you? Who sent you? What are you talking about? The man leaning against the wall glances out the door and nods at the Orlin. A hand over her weapon relaxes, but she's watching you closely. Some old friends from Defiance Bay are looking for me. We're not exactly friends anymore, if you catch my drift. I'm just trying to lie low and mind my own business, if you know what I mean. Boss. The Ormona looks at the Orlin and jerks his head at you. Alright. My friend here thinks you could maybe help us out. Now I'm sure you're a busy man, so I'll make it worth your time. Just go take a look around town, come back and let me know if the coast is clear, or if you see any suspicious figures. You're pretty suspicious yourself. What's this all about? I may have got myself in a bit of trouble with some powerful people in Defiance Bay. Powerful criminal people. I suppose it was bound to happen eventually. I'm a thief by trade, and it's hard to do my kind of business in the city without crossing them eventually. Now I'm just trying to put some distance between us. Decisions. Let's just be frank with you. We know who you are. If you're the person I think you are, someone told me you were responsible for the heinous killings in Defiance Bay. Let me guess. That was someone named Medref. That's a lie. Plain and simple. I got on the wrong side of his employers and now he's after me. But if you're here to do his dirty work, I won't make it easy on you. Relax, I just want to hear your side of the story. What story? The Dominels came after me. I just happened to rob the wrong place. How was I supposed to know they had already claimed it? It was an honest mistake. I'm just trying to survive now. And if you spoke to Medrif, you know he's waiting. The Dominels we've read before. They killed or responsible for the death of the Valalian merchant in Undra's Gift. I had to think there what that district was called. I keep forgetting. If you're telling the truth, and I'm not sure how we can read what you're into what you're saying is true more than what Medrif was saying. Go east. Medrif's waiting for you just west of the river. Alright, I'm trusting you. Don't have much of a choice. See if you can send him the other way. That should buy me some more time. Now, hopefully, I chose the right side. Because it didn't really tell us who we thought was telling the truth there. It just had to be... You had to... Hi!
See now what the flame has shown us?
The Guildmaster's Staff. A unique quarterstaff which is two-handed, has increased reach, and has a minor spellbind and a minor restore endurance. Interesting. We found the Guildmaster's staff, which was worked into the inn's foundations. And we encountered 2 more people who we can peer into the souls of. You see a man, eyes tight on a couple down a cobblestone road. He moves a little too obviously, a little too naturally, and his eyes never leave her messed curls as he shadows them from building to building. The woman laughs drunkenly, hand entwined with another belonging to a sharp-nosed noble. Flawless doublé slightly too small for his generous frame. She brushes against him as they move, clearly far too intimate for her shadow's liking. His eyes narrow into angry slits as the couple slip into an opulent doorway, and the nobleman's hand slips down her dress. Her breath shortens in the gas as she leans into him further, moaning. The spectator pauses, mouth pressed shut, veins bulging. He slides along the wall, dagger in hand, and just as the woman bites into the nobleman's doublé, he steps out. It's over in moments. He closes his eyes, dagger slipping from his blood-slicked hands, and bolts. Oh boy. Jealous lover? Jealous husband? Or just jealous because she turned you down? These questions and more are probably never going to be answered. You see a tall figure pacing the edges of a carpet corner to corner, fingers twitching in irritation. The sounds of battle grow ever closer, snaking its way through caves and corridors, past doors and soldiers, and the mage paces. Throwing his door open, he strides through the refurbished cave, taking scrolls from shelves and demanding potions from terrified grunts. Kicking a fallen chair from his path, he returns to his room, pacing, readying himself. As the enemy grows closer and closer, he begins casting spell after spell. Defences, additional vigour, traps. Just as his skin hardens in the metal, they stride in, swords flying and arrows buzzing. Last chance to rethink this, he says. An arrow whistles by his head in answer. He sighs, and his lips thin with effort as he begins his onslaught. There are 6 of them, but soon there are 4, and 3, and then 1. For the last he takes a dagger to be sure, throwing it directly into the Orlan's temple. The man topples, none to get back up. The mage barks into a hallway, receiving naught but silence in response. Frustrated, he begins to dispose of the bodies, the last person standing.
Let's see what lies this way. I can do that. I can do that.
Do we have an opinion in Dyrford? Not yet. We could have had a negative, but I remember we had someone in our keep. If we hadn't have assisted them, then we would have got a slight negative with the village. Right, Lord Harond. We spoke to one of your guards as we crossed the bridge. 2 seconds, I'm just going to adjust my seating position before we speak to him. There we go. The man wears Adria-style robe, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, yet they're caked with mud. He yanks at a lock of hair twined around his silk-gloved hand. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out there. Do they not understand?
My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers...
Beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
Your child is missing, I take it.
Yes, Lady Alice, my daughter. I've asked around, but nobody in this mudhole has any concerns beyond their swine. We turn my men away like beggars and seem downright pleased to be of no use. But you You're not one of my soldiers. And you look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
That's an interesting turn of phrase. Continue. My lord, a simple vagabond. If you find her, tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure that my Elise, my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. Okay, so let's learn about her.
Elise, of course.
Could you describe her for me? She's a striking young woman, bears more resemblance to her mother than to myself. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be, 28 or 29 by now. You're not too sure about her age, okay. Tell me about her disappearance. We'd stopped in Dyrford for a few days. On our fourth evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Lady Elise was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a couple of hours later, I found that she'd vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and none at the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been no help. Why did you come here to Dyrford? It was merely a stop along the way to Ina's Rest. However, she took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What is in Ina's Rest? He frowns about to protest, but he gives in with a sigh. Lady Elise has reached an age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I can't let her fertile years slip by, nor do I want her room to fester with the presence of so many hollowborn. It seems there would be more potential suitors in New Haomar or New Yarma. You think I haven't considered that? Arranging a suitable match is difficult. The best prospects of my child lay in Ina's Rest. What about the better roads along the coast? Wouldn't it have been easier to follow them to Ina's Rest? If I thought that, I wouldn't be slogging through the forest now, would I? The main roads are clogged with people fleeing one way or another to try to escape Waidwen's legacy. It would be difficult for a caravan like mine to pass without incident. At the time, it seemed prudent to move more quietly along the back roads. I get the feeling that Lady Elise isn't too happy about this arranged marriage business. What about the rest of your family? Surely they wouldn't want to miss your daughter's betrothal. Lady Haronde is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately Elise himself had few other close relatives. My sister and her husband, Elise's aunt and uncle, of course, have been visiting Adra in the past months. And as for siblings, Elise has none. My wife has only given birth to hollowborn since Elise, that is. Back to your daughter. Okay, there's no more questions. I heard you arguing with the innkeeper. What was that about?
A petty, small-minded man, just like the rest of them around here. I've been paying him an honest fee for board and bed, and yet he can't be bothered to stir himself to concern for my Elise.
Actually, he seemed pretty angry at you.
People from these backwater villages take offense for sport. You have to but show up with a full coin purse, and they'll hear insult in the jingle of your step. They forget that Duke Hadret came from the privileged classes, as did all of the other earls and lords who financed the rebellion they're so proud of.
This is why I'm hoping you can help. I should have never trusted the people around my child. Okay, about your daughter then, we've asked enough questions. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Lord Nestor Harrond of Defiance Bay. My family has been prominent there since Imperial times. Our primary estate is on the outskirts of Brackenbury, but we have holdings in New Haomar as well. Those went to my sister and her husband.
Well, thank you then. Goodbye. I'm guessing the innkeeper won't tell us much else, but we'll speak to him again. before we leave the inn here.
Good day to you.
Well, can you tell me anything about Lord Huron's daughter? He frowns and shrugs. His lordship says she's up and went missing the other day. I don't know any more than that. However these loading bastards handle their affairs ain't no business of mine. We're not going to display our coin purse. That's probably the way the Lord handle it. You look agitated. Something about this doesn't sit right with you, does it? Damn right it don't. That Lord saunters in here like he's cut from cleaner cloth than the rest of us. And yet... Look, I don't want no trouble from you or him or anyone else. I'm just waiting for him to tire of my ale and leave so things can get back to normal around here. And, we have a few options. We'll try the probably the best one. Maybe? Yeah, why not? We're honest. People know me for my integrity, Dengler. I swear I'll set this situation to rights. He leans on the bar and sighs. That girl, Elise, she was looking to disappear. You should have seen her, watching the door like a sheep at slaughter. All the same, she didn't hardly speak to no one. The only folk I seen her talk to was Trigil. His shop's by the broken tower. Bit of a hothead, that one. My advice is just let the matter drop. Like I say, it don't profit to dig around in other people's business. Okay. The only person we know she spoke to was Trigil. Okay. More interesting information. We also need to speak to Medrith to try and lead him away from Nathra. If we so wish, we could send him after her. What I'll do is I'll end this video here. It's been going on for more than half an hour, but when we come back, we'll continue exploring the rest of the village and try and get maybe one or two of these side quests done before we go to Cleanban Relag, the ruins northeast of here, which I think continues the main story quest. So this has been AnthWolf, and this of course has been Pillars of Eternity. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I will see you for even more videos in the future. Until then, take care, and bye bye.